So you think you're done with your beginner motorcycling phase. You had that cheap bike you got off of Craigslist that hasn't had its oil changed for over 8,000 miles. The tires are bald, it's all scratched up because you dropped so many times. And now you're ready to move on to the next bike. And I'm gonna show you why the bike that's in front of me is gonna be your perfect option. Let's say you go on Kawasaki's website and you want to get a naked bike. Well, it's easy. You go there, you go to the naked bikes, and then there is the Z900, for example. You pick a color and you want ABS or no ABS, and that's it. That's the bike you're going to get. BMW is not that simple because of how customizable this bike is. You have to go on BMW's website and there's like 7 or 8 categories of bikes. You have sport, you have M, you have tourers, you have roadsters, you have adventures, so on and so forth. And one bike can appear in more than one category of bikes. For example, the bike that's in front of us, the F900, shows up as the F900R in the roadster and as F900XR in the sport category of BMW's website. But if you grab either of those two bikes, the F900R from the roadster lineup or the F900XR in the sport lineup, you can further customize them by adding or not adding packages that BMW offers. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to go wheel to wheel and everything in between, and we're going to dissect this 2023 F900R with the packages it's equipped with. Then we're going to get on it, go out there, ride it, and then I'm going to give it an Emmy score. As far as the design of this bike goes, I really like it. It's a more modest way of doing naked bikes than some crazy designs like Kawasaki does. Kawasaki has this term called Sugomi, which is a term for something fierce and scary. Over here, BMW is not trying to scare you off with that design. They have a modest yet handsome, elegant design. There are no design characteristics on this bike to essentially disagree with. Everything you see is nice. And something that BMW does right but some other manufacturers struggle with is the lighting on the bike. As I said, the headlight is obviously adaptive and smart, which in itself is a groundbreaking technology for motorcycles. Not a lot of bikes have that. But everything is LED, which I really appreciate. It's a simple gesture to make lights LED, makes the bike look modern and beautiful. Even Kawasaki ZH2, which was twice as expensive as this motorcycle, that one had halogen bulbs for turn signals. On this bike, everything is made of LEDs, which looks really nice. Naked bikes, their original philosophy came from ease of maintenance. They were like, let's grab a fully faired super sport bike, strip it off of all those annoying fairings, and give people a naked bike they can service themselves easily without having to spend hours taking fairings off. BMW takes ease of service and maintenance even a step further than that. They have given you a center stand, which essentially when you put the bike on, you don't even need a rear stand anymore. You don't need to spend another $200-300 on a set of pit bull stands on this bike. Just use the center stand and the bike would lift off the ground, and you can change the tires, the brakes, all of that can be done, or lube the chain, all of that with the center stand that's already provided. Let's talk about the 2023 F900R's engine, which is its biggest difference between it and the Z900 from Kawasaki. On this BMW, the engine is an inline 2-cylinder with 898 cc's, puts down a claimed 99 horsepower at the crank and 80 to the rear wheel, and the engine on the Z900 is an inline 4-cylinder that puts about 100 horsepower to the rear wheel. So the engine's smaller in number of cylinders and displacement and power output on the BMW than it is on the Z900, which further contributes to why I would push for this bike being a second bike after your amateur beginner level bike. This would be a great second bike after you've put a couple years of experience down. The engine is really forgiving. The power delivery is heavily controlled by the electronics this bike has, and we're going to go over soon. And with all of that together, this really is going to be your best option as a second bike. Let's see how it sounds. Now, as for the transmission on this bike, you have a 6-speed mesh, synchro mesh. I have gone over the two main types of transmissions on motorcycles. You either have a synchro mesh or you have a dog ring. On motorcycles that are more track oriented, like the Ninja H2, you have dog ring transmissions, or the even ZH2 from Kawasaki, the supercharged naked version of the Z900 essentially. That one also have a dog ring transmission. Dog ring transmissions, in a nutshell, have more sturdily built components so they can take abuse more before they deform or break. The downside of them is that they are more clunky. They kind of jump a little when you go from neutral to one, more so than the synchro mesh would. On this bike, it's a synchro mesh, which is more typical transmission style on most motorcycles. Synchro mesh has more gears between each main gear, like 1, 2, 3, 4. There are more mini gears between them, and that makes transition of gears more smoothly done, but it takes longer to go through gears. It's really for high performance motorcycles on the track that you can notice the gear shift is slower on a synchro mesh than a dog ring. So this bike in particular comes with a 6-speed synchro mesh transmission, and the shifter is equipped with a quick shifter up and down. This bike in particular is also equipped with the premium package, which costs $1,250, and I think it's worth every penny you pay for it because it gives you access to a vast number of features. What is included in the premium package? One is the keyless function. As you can see, the key is not on the bike, the key is right here in my pocket, and instead you have a button here that you push. It's really great because BMW says, hey, if I want to give you a keyless entry motorcycle, keyless start motorcycle, I am also going to give you a keyless ride cap, gas tank cap, which means it's actually useful to make the bike keyless. Ducati, for example, does the same thing with their Diavol and Multistrada. They make those keyless, but they don't give you a keyless gas cap, which means whenever you want to fill up on gas, you still have to pull the key out of your pocket, insert it, twist it, open the cap, which defeats the point of a keyless motorcycle. You don't want to take the key out of your pocket like ever. You would put it in a hidden, concealed pocket somewhere, zip it up, and be over with your day. On this bike, that's exactly how they have designed it. Another feature in the bundle of premium package is the Ride Mode Pro, which is this dynamic ride mode that you wouldn't get otherwise on the non-premium package motorcycle. And that allows you to customize the ride modes. All of them do come with the road, rain, race mode, all of that. But the fourth mode of dynamics mode can be added to this motorcycle if you opt into the premium package, where you can just set all the parameters yourself, how much of the power you want to use, how much of the traction control you want to use, all of that, all the variables can be adjusted on the pro mode, which you only get through the premium package. And you also get heated grips on this motorcycle if you do get the premium package, which essentially is a very simple operation feature. There is a button here, you push that and you can pick from 3 levels of heated grips on this motorcycle, again only coming with the premium package. You also get DEBC, which is dynamic engine brake control. As part of that package, you also get the enduro chain on this motorcycle, which is this gold chain as opposed to the silver one that's on the regular F900Rs without the premium package. And you also get the adaptive headlights, which was on the BMW scooter that I reviewed as well. Essentially, the lights are on a gyroscope. When you go downhill or uphill, the lights adjust the level that they're shining so they don't blind or go too low that you can't even see the road, depending on the inclination of the road you're riding on. And as I mentioned earlier, you get the quick shifter up and down, which is again part of the premium package. And you also get the ABS Pro. All of the BMW motorcycles in this class of bikes do come with the default stock ABS, which is like the non-intelligent ABS. But if you do opt in the premium package, you get the ABS Pro, which means both wheels have ABS and they can communicate to one another for a better ABS outcome. And you get DTC, or the dynamic traction control, which is traction control on steroids. It essentially knows your lean angle, the inclination of the road, a lot more factors it's aware of, and it can apply the perfect amount of traction control to your needs at that very moment you need it. And so with this long list of features that I just mentioned, all being part of the $1,200 premium package, I think you would agree that it's really worth opting in that package. Now, you can get those features separately, individually, if you want to. If like you want one but not the other, you don't have to opt in the whole bundle premium package. But if you want to get components, they can quickly add up. If you're ever going to go get a BMW motorcycle, I do encourage you to look out for the packages they have and pick the one that's the best bang for your buck. On this particular one, the premium package is definitely a must-have. Now, some of the other features that you could equip this motorcycle with but that are not part of the premium package, one is the height adjustment. Both the suspension and the seat settings can be different from factory if you're shorter and this bike in its current setup cannot accommodate your height. You can, when you're building your motorcycle, you can pay some additional $200 additional and they can set up the suspensions for you on a lower setting, and the seat as well. They can put that even in a lower setting, but that's not part of the premium package. You can opt in those options when you get your own bike. Now, both the Z900 and this BMW have TFT screens, but I don't know why. I really like BMW's TFT screen better than the Kawasaki's. The 6.5-inch TFT screen that's on this motorcycle. You can also connect both the Z900 from Kawasaki and this BMW to your phone and kind of see telemetry data, how much gas you have left, how many miles your last trip was, stuff like that. I've never really personally needed to connect my phone to my bike. There was really no reason for it, but you can do it here. If you download the BMW's Ride app, you can connect this bike to your phone and kind of duplicate the screen that's here on your phone. But you get this nicely done 6.5-inch TFT screen, which is paired to BMW's Wonder Wheel. I have commented on this wheel when I was reviewing BMW's scooter. It is a fantastic way of controlling the screen, better than tiny joysticks right next to your blinker switch. On some other bike, I tried to manipulate the screen, but I accidentally just set off the right or left blinkers on the bike. On this one, it's a whole separate system. The Wonder Wheel is separate from all other keys, so there's no way of confusing which buttons are for the screen and which buttons are like your cruise control button. In fact, that leads me to the next topic, cruise control. This bike is equipped with one, whereas the Z900 from Kawasaki does not have cruise control. And we're going to test the cruise control when we go out there and ride this motorcycle. Another button that's right here is with the exclamation mark, danger sign, and a circle around it. That just disables all the safety features all at once. The traction control, ABS, all of that can be disabled with the push of a button. If you want to go out there and be a hooligan, you can just disable them all with the push of one button. In comparison, the Z900 from Kawasaki, whether you get the base non-ABS model or the advanced ABS model, they don't even offer you half the equipment that this bike offers you. For example, this one has cruise control, Kawasaki doesn't have cruise control. This one has quick shifter up and down, the Z900 doesn't have quick shifters either direction. The Z900 from Kawasaki offers you only the screen with connectivity abilities to your phone, and ABS if you opt in and pay $1,000 more, traction control, and that's essentially it. It does not have many of the other features that this bike offers you. When you start putting two and two together, you realize not only can this bike be almost the same price out the door as Kawasaki, it offers you so much more that it almost makes it a no-brainer decision between this and its rivals, its Japanese rivals. But one thing that Kawasaki has, this one doesn't, other than the stronger engine that's on the Kawasaki, is that the Kawasaki Z900 comes with a trellis frame, whereas this one just has the beam frame on it, which I think is the only really inferior thing on the BMW compared to the Kawasaki. Before we go for the ride, let's give a shout out to BMW Motorcycles of Seattle for allowing me to show you what an awesome bike this pre-owned 2023 BMW F900R is. It is currently for sale on their website, and I leave a link to this bike in the description section of this video. And with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and ride it. Okay, now let's do a quick acceleration test. Wow, that's pretty beefy. Yeah, quick shifter works, that's great. So here, if I want to show you guys quick shifter real quick without touching the clutch, let's get a little bit of distance from that car in front of us. Let's go to first gear, slow down. Okay, so here's my hand, not touching the clutch. There we go. Yeah, it works pretty well. Grip heater is simply this one. You push this button and at the bottom it says now level 3. So that's the hottest setting, and you can go push this to 1 and off. Now, how to use cruise control is, you see that it says off/on. That means if you swipe this left or right, slide it left or right, it's off or on. So to prepare the cruise control, you move this to the right, and this red cruise control logo appears here. And now, whatever speed you want to set, you just push this set button, and bam, now I'm cruise controlled at 40. Without touching the grip, I am now moving at 40. If I want to reduce, whoa, hang on, I have to stop because I'm almost hitting the car in the front. Let's go cruise control 26. So now 26 cruise control. If I want to go up in speed, I simply can, just like a car, keep tapping this button here, and you can see now cruise control is at 29 miles per hour, 30 miles an hour, 31, 32. Let's put it on 35, for example, and you can see the bike starts to speed up. The bike is not going to shift gears for you, so if you go too much up for the gear that you're in, that light starts flashing up there telling you that it's time to shift. So you can simply use the quick shifter and go bam, 3. On this bike, when you do connect your phone to the bike, you can actually navigate, you can use songs, media. If you have like headphones in your ear and you want to change the song, instead of saying hey Siri or so on and so forth, you can simply change the media on the bike. All around, this is a fantastic motorcycle. I really cannot find any problems with this thing. The mirrors are fantastic. They show you everything. They show you your past and future. They are so massive, and they're sticking out so much that, I mean, other than the style of it, you could probably have a prettier looking mirror aftermarket, but functionality wise, it's amazing. I forgot to mention the weight of this bike. I will put it on the screen how much it weighs, and I will put the weight of the Z900 as well, so you can kind of compare which one's heavier. If I was to get a naked bike, this would have been it.
And now on to the EMI score for the 2023 BMW F900R. In the commuter category, the F900R's riding position is very upright and comfortable, and the seat is very cushiony. Your feet are positioned straight down and your arms are at chest level. This earns the F900R a 9 out of 10 in riding comfort. In the fuel range / features, the F900R has a 3.4 gallon tank and gets about 40 miles per gallon, giving it roughly 150 miles of range per tank. In comparison, the Kawasaki Z900 has an additional 1 gallon capacity and the same miles per gallon, making it go farther on the same tank, but also weighs slightly more, so about the same mile per gallon at the end of the day. The BMW comes with a great segmented fuel gauge, which is typical of naked bikes these days, and this earns the F900R an 8 out of 10 in the fuel range / features. As far as the commute-specific tech goes, the F900R comes with a 6.5-inch TFT screen with phone connectivity, allowing you to pair your phone for navigation and media use. It has cruise control and quick shifter, both up and down riding modes, so when the weather changes during your commute, you can simply switch the mode and ride comfortably. It comes with grip heaters and is equipped with keyless functions. It has intelligent ABS, making your rides extra safe. It is a very well-equipped bike, which earns it a solid 10 out of 10 in the commute-specific tech and features. Storage is little, typical of many other modern naked bikes, gets a 1 out of 10. You would definitely need to bring along that backpack. A good commuter bike should be cost-effective, reliable, and have a strong dealership network. The bike I reviewed with its packages costs roughly $12,000 MSRP, which is average for a naked bike. I believe this is the best bang for your buck kind of bike. The BMW bikes are pretty reliable, and you can tell that from their strong resale value. Number of BMW dealers, however, is far fewer than the number of dealers from Japanese rivals like Honda, Yamaha, and Kawasaki. This gets the BMW a 7 out of 10 in affordability, reliability, and dealer support, for a pretty good total score of 35 out of 50 points for the commuter category. Now on to the performance/dope factor category. In the race riding position category, the F900R can be used both as a race machine and a road machine. It sits you comfortably, but it can also be an agile bike if you just hold onto the bike a little tighter. Definitely not a super sport level kind of aggressive riding position, but can get the job done if you choose to take it to the track. This earns the F900R a 5 out of 10 in the race riding position. The horsepower/torque figures are sub-average for a naked bike in this CC category. The Z900 from Kawasaki, for example, makes about 15 more horsepower and torque. However, this does make your transition from a smaller displacement naked bike to this kind of level of CC a little more smooth if you start with the BMW than a stronger bike like the Z900 from Kawasaki or the Street Fighter from Ducati. The torque on this bike is 67 pounds-feet and has around 80 horsepower to the rear wheel, earning the F900R a 3 out of 10. Some of you were wondering how I calculate the rear wheel horsepower/torque category score. I simply add up the horsepower and torque numbers and divide them by 2, which gets me the horsepower/torque average. If the average is 0 to 25, it gets a 1. 26 to 50 gets a 2, and so on and so forth. As for the weight, the F900R is slightly lighter than its rivals at around 465 pounds wet. Since my score considers a 375 pound bike or lighter a 10 out of 10, and every increment of 25 pounds deduct this score, the F900R at 465 pounds gets a 6 out of 10 in the weight category. Regarding the racetrack-oriented rider rates features, you get ABS Pro with Brembo brake calipers, race configured TFT display with lap timer if you choose to switch into the race mode, engine brake control, traction control, and launch control. This gets the F900R a 10 out of 10 in the racetrack-oriented rider aids features. As for the design choices and marketplace, it's got a modest look, yet handsome, quality parts, and BMW's reputation behind it. The marketplace, I'd say, is above Japanese rivals, but slightly below Italian naked bikes. This earns the F900R an 8 out of 10 for the overall design and marketplace. This gives the 2023 BMW F900R a total score of 32 out of 50 in the performance/dope factor category. And it sits here on the table compared to the rest of the naked bikes I have reviewed so far. BMW has always been the perfect bike in every category. So perfect that it in fact has become a bit boring. It is just a conservative bike. It looks modest without any risks taken in its designs. The power is modest without any risk taken there either, like how Kawasaki's playing around with the superchargers or how Ducati's messing around with V4 engines. But BMW is just there with an inline twin engine making, sub-average horsepower and /torque figures. BMW always just chooses the safest, least disturbing path whenever it makes a bike. So if you're a fairly new motorcycle rider who has just finished that beginner bike phase, has no intention of wanting to upgrade or heavily modify the bike, wants something that starts up every morning without any trouble, and you generally don't want to cause a scene or turbulence anywhere you show up, this is going to be the perfect bike for you.